Hi there, welcome to 60 Matthews. I'm Matthew, and I'm going to learn how to use Blender in 1 week. Now obviously, I could spend months and years learning this software, but I'm going to see how much I can cram into 1 week. I do have somewhat of a goal for this challenge. By the end of the week, I want to make a really cool animated short. I don't know what it's going to be about, I don't know who's going to be in it, I don't know how it's going to be done, I don't know how long it's going to be. So it's a very loose goal, but I'll develop it throughout the week and see how it turns out. I just don't want to get in over my head because I don't know what I'm capable of with this program. I don't know anything about Blender. I've seen it used in a lot of game dev videos. I've seen a couple of tutorials, but I personally haven't done anything with it. So, I want to change that. I want to increase my game development and animation skills, so I want to become adept with this program. Let's see how much I can get accomplished in 1 week. So, it was finally time to get started. Obviously, I had to start with some coffee, but then it was finally time to get started. I had really done nothing in Blender before. I had opened it up once I first got the program, but that's about it. So, it was finally time to figure out how the camera moved around and how it all felt, what everything looked like and how it all felt. And then my dog came in to greet me. He was out adventuring, having his own fun, but he wanted some daddy love, so he came in. He likes to be right in my lap while I'm working, which I don't mind, I like it, but eventually he moved over to the other side of the bed because I wasn't petting him anymore. And then it was finally time to get started. So we started with this simple Snowman tutorial, which was a slow-going process for me, just getting used to what all the buttons, what all the hotkeys were, how to create stuff, how to duplicate stuff, how to move stuff. Eventually I got better at using the gizmos and all of the tools available, but it was just a little slow going for me at first, just because I didn't know how any of this worked. And then we moved on to shading and lighting, which actually did a lot more for the picture than I thought. Especially whenever I got into the animation process, it amazed me how much the lighting really sells the image. I know a little bit about lighting. In Unity, it uses the same system of creating a point light or a spotlight or an area light or a sun. This was creating an object that was luminescent, so it was a little bit different, but it was fun playing around with all of that. And I was amazed at how photorealistic I was able to make it. Like, this just looks a lot more real than I thought I was capable of. With just a few clicks of a button, I was able to make this look really, really interesting. Obviously, I was copying this tutorial on the right, but I was amazed that I was able to do this in a free program. It was cool. All right, it's Tuesday, and I did a few things yesterday. It took a lot of scrambling around and a lot of remembering hotkeys and getting everything used to like the controls and stuff. I tried to just see what I could do and try and make a simple robot, and that didn't go over well. But then after that, I did a tutorial on how to use edit mode and use all of those things, and that was still kind of frustrating, just getting all of it in my head and really kind of wrapping my head around what all to do. And I don't know, I shoved a lot of information in my brain yesterday. And then last night I watched a tutorial about getting animations into live footage and marking the camera and how to get all of that done. It was really overwhelming. I've known that Blender was really powerful and that you could do all of this stuff, but I've got a long way to go. The tutorials that I'm using are from Born CG, and I'll leave a link down in the description to his channel or one of the videos. He's really, really, really good and really explains himself and repeats himself a lot, which is great for me because I'm a terribly slow learner. But I've really enjoyed his thorough tutorials, and right now the next one is image textures and UV mapping, so I'm gonna get started on that. I did do the UV mapping tutorial, but there really wasn't that much to show, so I didn't put it in this video. This is from a different guy. His name is Infinzia, and I'll talk about him in just a minute. But this is how he sets up for his 10-minute Blender builds. And it's not a great system. You can't change the materials. You have to work with one material. Maybe you can, but so it's not great. But at least I could finally start getting some color mapping down and getting like coloring images and coloring objects. And it was really fun to actually start playing around. So this was a house that I had done in a previous tutorial from the other guy. So now that I knew how to color map, I started to play around with coloring this object. I had my little chill hop raccoon helping me out. Sometimes I like to listen to jazz, sometimes really heavy stuff, but today it was the chill hop raccoon. So anyway, I was getting into how to color stuff. I got a little cocky on thinking I was a lot better than I actually was, but I was finally getting to a point where I was creating stuff instead of just copy and pasting simple spheres and things like that. I was actually getting to a point where I was creating stuff, and it doesn't look that impressive, but I was excited to actually be getting somewhere. I was getting more used to the tools, getting more used to how everything worked, getting more used to the hotkeys and everything. So this was the final product. It's not that great, but I was excited. I like it. It's a cute little house. So then I moved on to making a sword. I have an idea for what I want to do with this, so I just wanted to practice some on I was getting a lot better at how to extrude, how to scale, how to select things, how to make cuts, how to do a lot of the things that really were slow moving for me at first, but I was slowly getting my head around how to actually do a lot of this stuff. So this is the final product of the sword. It's not great, but I don't know. I like it. I learned a lot in the process. So then I moved on to creating a few low poly creatures, just to kind of continue to work on stuff and get better at just making stuff. I have an idea for what I want to use these guys for. In a previous video, I had drawn these little low poly creatures just because I had this idea in my head that I want to use these guys for. This guy ended up looking like a little porcupine or like a sand shrew, the Pokemon, but it was fun playing around with things, and finally I was getting into a place where I could really start making what I wanted, and I knew a few of the tools well enough to start creating stuff. This is also where I kind of figured out how the kind of the limitations of the color palette, just because it wasn't that great once I really started to color him, and he's a little bit glossy. I would like for like his spikes to be glossy, but his body to be more rough, but that ended up not. I mean, I just have to take it like it is. This was one of the guys that I'd originally drawn in my first video. He was one of my favorites, so I started making him. And gave him some little cute eyeballs. They ended up looking a little bit creepier than I thought, but I'll do them. I'll redo them again later and make him a lot cuter. And this ended up being my favorite one. He looks like a little bunny in a wheelchair, and he's adorable. I like his colors and everything, and this was a fun process. This took each one I got a little bit faster and faster. And this was them animated. I just kind of did a short little animation just to see what I could do. So, yeah.
Okay, today I want to do something a little bit different to start the day. I've done a lot of modeling in the last couple of days, but now I want to test myself. This guy, Infenzia, does 10-minute model challenges. He's done the Titanic, a Star Destroyer, a castle. This one is a skyscraper. It's really impressive to watch. And last night I watched a video of his where he goes over 20 tips for learning Blender, and it really helped me a lot. So I'm going to challenge myself to see if I can draw a car in 10 minutes. We'll see how it goes. I'm sure I can get something done, but we'll see how pretty I can make it. So I'm going to start the timer and get going. Okay, I've got my color palette ready. I've got my timer going. You're recording. Whew, here goes. Okay. Well, I did it. I've done better work before, but it was a challenge, and I'm still getting used to all of this. Clearly, it shows that I need more work. I'm gonna keep working on this and see how well I can do, just so I can practice more. But wow, yeah, this is not. I successfully did it in 10 minutes, but I'm not proud of my work. So keep working.
So it was finally time to start doing stuff for this movie. I did some test footage of some like over the shoulder shots and just me walking and stuff like that, just so I could have some footage to use in Blender and kind of start to figure out how to actually do this. At this point, I had had the script kind of written or at least worked out a little bit, so I knew kind of what I wanted to do. It was only one page, so it wasn't anything too crazy to write. So it took a few test shots. My dog thought that we were going on adventures. He did not know that I was just kind of walking back and forth a lot. And then it was finally time to start with the animation. So this was the first kind of test that I did. It was really frustrating, but I ended up making it work. And then this was the robot that is kind of the main character. I was finally working on making this movie instead of just practicing for it. So I was finally getting more adept at how to use the tools, how to move everything, how to switch back and forth from like edit mode to object mode. I was learning how to paint better. I wish that I could have had different materials. I wanted to make some of his like lights and things more luminescent, but I didn't have time for that. In fact, this one was just more of the more basic setup. He ended up becoming a lot more refined later on, but this was just kind of creating the basic structure and getting kind of putting a face on him so that I could see where he's facing. But I just kind of wanted to get something on paper so that I could actually start working with it and those test shots and really start to shape this movie. And then this was the first test footage that I did for the movie. Obviously, it's very wrong. He shouldn't be all the way up in the sky, and then his arms come detached and his head too. But eventually, I got better at what I was doing and shaped it up for this shot right here. It's Friday, and I'm out here filming this movie. I've got my shots established that I need. I've got my short script. It's not going to be very long, maybe a minute, maybe two. It's not going to be anything crazy. It's pretty stupid, but I wanted to get something done. I have a list of all the shots that I need. I need to get some sound effects. I need to get some ambient noise. So I'm going to film these shots, and hopefully I can get it all done today and not have anything too messed up in the editing process. So I just got done filming all the shots, and it took a lot longer than I thought it was, but I've spent most of my life studying theater and film, so I know to do take after take after take, and then hopefully maybe one of them might be good. It went okay. My acting skills are a little rusty, but hopefully it comes out decent in the final product. So now I just have to actually make that final product. So I'm sure I'll look terrible, but I have spent literally all day finishing this. I don't love it. I didn't get nearly as much done as I wanted. It's okay. It's fine. I wanted to get some armature going so that I could rig some poses, but that didn't happen. I wanted to add some dynamic lighting to show the more metallic-y surfaces on things, but that didn't work out either. Of course, I would love to spend days getting the movements just right. They're not exactly right, but I have spent a lot of time working on the color grading for all of the shots, working on all of the audio, working on the green screen, because I had to animate in Blender and then transfer that into DaVinci Resolve. I tried to do it with Blender's video editor, but I was already tackling enough with animation as it was, so I just made everything in Resolve. Maybe that made it harder on me, I don't know. But anyway, without further ado, I present to you the movie I made in Blender in a week.
Whoa!
Hi.
Hello, human.
What is a robot doing out here in the woods?
I don't know. I'm not a robot.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to... What are you then?
I'm a smart bot. I am smart.
Okay. What do you specialize in? What all do you know?
All the things.
All things. Got it. What's the most interesting thing you know?
Okay. That is a flower.
No, that's a tree.
How dare you defy me, you...
Ah! Are you trying to threaten me with a stick?
Huh?
Hey, come back here!